All right, guys, I'm Bob Spire, the head football coach at North Gwinnett, and our hard work going into this 2013 season and off season is going really, really well. This group of seniors, they were 8th graders when Lanier split from us, so it's been kind of a unique experience in how they have handled all of that transition and disruption, or what could have been. It's all in how you spin it, I guess. But this group of seniors has really stayed together, really bonded, really committed to the North Gwinnett way and the work that they put in. You know, and I think they've seen the challenges that lay out there on every Friday night in our region, and they have a great feel for, you know, the opportunities that they have with the Corky Kell. And this year we're going to go to Grayson for our other non-region game, as opposed to playing an out-of-state team and, you know, having defeated Grayson in the playoffs and then going back into their turf the second week. I think they understand the challenge they have ahead of them. You can see that in the work they're putting in the off-season, in the weight room, you know, in speed training, when we'll go out and work football. Like Jess mentioned, you know, the way things transition now, you no longer have that juice of emphasis for a 2 or 3 week period in the preseason where you're going 2 or 3 times. Those days are pretty well gone. So now all your installation, all your work is kind of a building process through spring practice and through the summer. And you just kind of build. It's really a different format. So you got to have guys that are really committed to the plan. And this group of seniors, I think, is really taking the lead on that. But they got to have a lot of help from the underclassmen too. I'll let the players speak to that. But I know that we lost a large chunk of our offensive line. We do have two starters back on the offensive line. Dre Smith, who's really a very talented football player, and is one of only a couple guys right now that we're actually practicing on both sides of the ball, because he's a really good nose guard also. And then Mitch Hyatt, who's gotten a lot of publicity, is, you know, arguably, you know, maybe the top recruit in the country in 2015. You know, by some services, you know, left tackle had a great year last year as a sophomore. But those other 3 positions are all new and a lot of inexperience there. So I think that's a real key, particularly early in the season, if they gel and come together, you know, in our potential success. We got a lot of experience back at receiver. Nate Brown, who's up on stage with me, and Caleb Scott started the 2 outside receivers. They both started last year. Almanzo Brown is a slot receiver. He'll be a junior. He started last year as a sophomore. We've got 2 younger or less inexperienced receivers working the other slot, in Daniel and Josh Amator Bebe, who are former basketball kids who have come out for football, and they've got a lot of talent, but they're still really learning the game. Jay Stackhouse is also moving over the offensive side and working at receiver. So we've got a core of experience there with some of the seniors and then some young talent mixed in. We do have a transfer running back in C.J. Leggett that I think potentially can have a really big season. He kind of brings to the table a great fit to our offense. He's a power runner, got great zone vision, good jump cut guy, but also catches the football well. So in our system, I think he really has a chance to be productive. And then, you know, we're going through now with our 3rd straight one-year starter at quarterback in Hayden Spire, and he's had a great offseason. He got a lot of experience last year and a lot of quality rep opportunities throughout the course of the games. And you know, I think the experience he got last year, you can see the way he's taken the team over this offseason, and had a really good spring practice, and been doing some of the recruiting stuff off and on, so he's been in and out of some of the 7-on-7 stuff. But you know, it's his time for this to be his team, and he's kind of built toward that over the last 3 years. On defense, we got Bobby Young here at safety, and he's a 3-year starter. Bobby's really the field general back there. He really understands the defense. We're going through a great transition with our defense, and we lost a tremendous defense coordinator, Mo Dixon. It really did a fabulous job for us. as well as Byron Shells, our defensive line coach, who's really a quality football coach. But we've replaced them with Robert Andrews, who obviously having 6A state championship experience as a defensive coordinator is really great for our program. And Brent Tisdale, who also came with him, is going to be coaching the defensive line. So, having guys that are championship coaches now into your program, and Georgia championship coaches, I think adds an element to our staff that we can really build upon. Also, really excited, I've hired a couple of new defensive coaches. Sean Jackson, who was a recruiting coordinator in Missouri a couple of years ago, has been a real dynamic spread offensive coach in the state of Missouri and in Tennessee, and he's helping coach receivers. So I'm really excited about him on staff, and a lot of transition through the school split, a lot of adversity these guys have faced that could have resulted from that. Once again, it's all about how you spend it, it's all how you handle it attitudinally. And these guys have really committed, to the competition ahead of them. So I'm going to turn this over to Hayden and let him speak a little bit about, the offensive side of the ball and his teammates, etc.
Hayden Spire, quarterback, North Gwinnett, and playing in North Gwinnett, we know there's a tradition of winning and that we have to come in and work every day in the summer. Because with our schedule, if we take one day off, we could go anywhere from 5-5 to 0-10. So we got to work every day, and offensively we're really experienced outside with the receivers, but the guys who haven't played as much, they really work hard because they know what they have to face in this region. So we're looking forward to having a big year, and we're looking to change that playoff quarterfinal streak. So.
I'm going to turn it over to Bobby, being a 3-year starter at safety, and Bobby's really a very physical football player as a safety too, and that's kind of his demeanor. He doesn't say a whole lot, but his actions on the field really speak, so I'm going to turn it over to Bobby.
Hi, I'm Bobby Howard from North Gwinnett, free safety. We have one return starter for linebacker, Connor Cross. He's very physical, he's very good. And then D-line, we got Dante and Henri. And we're coming back. We just want to win it this year. Last year we got upset about Lovejoy, kind of hurt us really bad. And we just know we won now.
Yeah, I probably didn't talk enough about the defense. I get caught up as a play caller offensively. You get kind of caught up in that. When you're in depth with your personnel and having a good defensive staff, you let those guys run with a lot of things. But defensively, other than Bobby, we do have some other experience on defense coming back, particularly our up front folks. We do have Dante Sawyer, who will be back, and he's a 3-year starter, and actually as a freshman played a lot at running back for us. And then Henri St. Amour, who will be a junior, really came on the last half of his sophomore year and had a big year last year, has had a tremendous offseason. He right now, pound for pound, is the strongest kid on our football team in the weight room. He recently was offered by the University of Missouri. He's getting a lot of looks, by the colleges. He's got a lot of upside to him. Like his brother, who's a starting center at Georgia Southern, I see him continuing to rise physically because, Man Ray, when he got to college, he put on 45, 50 pounds. Henri is just going to continue to get bigger like that also, I think. We do also have a couple of young men, of course, talked about Dre Smith playing nose guard, but also Des Smith and Noah Lyman have done a great job for us last year, and I anticipate them rolling in and splitting a lot of time on the defensive line. We also have a move in from Florida by the name of Lewis Saab, and Lewis had a great year last year as a sophomore at Bertram Trail and started for them all year, and is a really explosive football player. And I think he's going to add a real element to our defensive front. So we're going to have 7 or 8 guys that we're going to be able to roll in on the defensive front, keep them fresh, work our pressure package. And so I think that's going to really be key. Tony Bradford will be returning as a linebacker. Now, he missed the last third of last season with a broken leg. And he went through spring, had a really good spring, had to have the apparatus, pins removed recently, so he's out of camp coming up Sunday, but he'll be back in a couple of weeks ready to go. Ben Carswell is back at linebacker, and we got a couple of young guys in Parker Seacrest Aaron Hartz, who are really doing a good job for us. They'll both be juniors. And of course, Carter Cross is back at will linebacker. He was our leading tackler last year. What a great example of what high school football really is. You know, you look at him get off the bus and he's not going to impress you with his size, but that kid can really, really play the game. And really, I think he kind of is the leader in terms of, because he's got so much respect from his teammates because of the way he works and the way he plays the game and his passion for the game. Everybody respects him. Everybody kind of follows his lead because, like Jess and him said, you know, you can control your attitude, you can control your effort. And Carter really sets the bar out there for everybody to follow. So we also have Brian Williams back as a starting corner, and he's had a really, really good offseason. And we've got a couple other guys like Connor Clyde that have had a good spring that'll be a junior at corner. So Avery Elford as a rover. And of course we've got Robert Pucciarello, who started a lot last year as what we call the dog in our 3-5, one of the safety positions. So I'm going to turn this over now back on the offensive side to Nate Brown, who started for us last year, receiver, and let him speak a minute.
Nate Brown, North Gwinnett High School. Just to sort of elaborate on what Coach and some of the other guys said, we have a lot of good things going for us this season. Nobody feels entitled to anything. We all push each other in the weight room, on a track when we're doing speed training and that sort of thing. And I mean, through that we develop sort of a brotherhood, and that's big to play football in Georgia. So, yeah.
And then before we talk any recruiting, et cetera, which may come up a little bit with Dante because he's gotten a lot of offers, but Nate has gotten several Division I offers, and you know, I can Vandy in Illinois and several others. I mean, it's a pretty lengthy list, about 12 or 15 offers. But Dante, of course, has obviously been the prime guy from a college recruiting standpoint. But you know what? This is high school football, and you know, this is all about us as a team. And you know, he really rises to the occasion. So I'm going to turn it over to Dante.
My name is Dante. Basically, coming into this North Gwinnett system, I learned a lot about myself and about how team works and our tradition and what it takes to be that top school in Georgia. But we've been working recently, so we're going to be looking to get deep in the playoffs. New things are coming towards us, so that's about it.
Any questions?
Since you mentioned it before about their third year, straight year, you had a one-year starter at quarterback here. But you've actually done a pretty good job over that time of getting like the heir apparent some playing time with Hayden last year, Michael Haynes the year before that, and et cetera, et cetera. Is there somebody else who you feel like may be able to be the next line, I guess?
David, that's a great question. You know, I was influenced several years ago by Howard Stellenberger when he was at the University of Louisville. He was, I studied a lot of what they did, and he was big on always taking his backup quarterback and scripting him in quality scenarios so that he was ready if he had to take over, and prepared him also for the future. Right now, it's kind of a log jam as far as who that next guy is, and that's something that needs to shake out during the preseason. John Urzula, URZUA, is going to be a junior, as well as Grant Manning will be a junior. And you got Grayson Fowler and Jonathan Waters that will be sophomores. It's really right now a log jam, and some of the things that are coming up, like our team camp, and then how they handle preseason, and when they get into scrimmage opportunity, there's some things that I still have to dissect out of this to see really who's going to be that next guy. And I'm not even sure that the next guy immediately right now will necessarily be the next guy next year. It's a little bit unusual for me to be in this situation as a coach. It's been quite a while since I've been kind of dicey on that. And that's just the truth. That's just where we are.
Coach, what's it like coaching your son?
Coaching Hayden's been really a lot of fun. And he's kind of taken any of that kind of exterior pressure or whatever out of the mix because he's been a team guy first. Last year he competed his tail off to be the guy with Michael Haynes. And he had a great spring and a great summer. And by every right, we could have won a ton of football games with him. And I made the decision that Michael being a senior and the work that he had put in and the preparation and the character and the leadership but as I was making that decision, when Hayden and I discussed it, he immediately was like, Daddy's earned it. He needs to be the guy. And so he was a team guy from day one and supported Michael tremendously, and he just wants us to win. He just wants North Gwinnett to win and be the best we can be. So that's made it really, really easy. It's taken all those exterior potential pressures out of it from that standpoint. And but I've coached him no differently than I really have any other player. Michael, I coach him the same way. I expect the same things. I maybe expect more sometimes because but that's because I know he understands the system. I don't expect more because he's my son. I just expect more because he's a program player.
Thank you.